Hello and welcome back. We have Julie Rake with us. Before COVID, Julie used to travel the state and do quite a few mindfulness and meditation exercises in person at different places where professionals had very high stress jobs, animal shelters, healthcare facilities. So we really thank her for all the work she does. She's an integrative health professional. She's the member of the Brain Injury Alliance board, and she's also with Chopra Global. So she works with Deepak Chopra on everything that they're up to in the United States. So Julie, take it away. Everything is yours. And we're going to try to do a Facebook Live as well in case your Zoom link drops off.
Excellent. Thank you so much, Carrie. Thank you for the lovely introduction. I'm really happy to be here today. I really liked that Carrie and the Brain Injury Alliance staff named this talk Finding Your Spark After COVID-19. I feel like that implies that something has been lost, and I would agree with that. So as Carrie mentioned a moment ago, I've been lucky and privileged enough to be able to work with Chopra, the Chopra Center, and facilitate health retreats that occur every other week. And this has allowed me the opportunity to spend time one-on-one with anywhere from 10 to 25 people every week in a really deep and connected way. And why I say that I love that title that Carrie has chosen, Finding Your Spark After COVID, the main themes that people are describing to me, and there really are three main themes. You can probably relate on some level, whether this is you or somebody you know. A lot of people have described weight gain. That just seems to be across the board. It might be the COVID-19, or it could be the COVID-20 or the COVID-30. But the other second main theme I'm finding is I am talking to people far and wide who are experiencing new levels of stress, anxiety, worry. Some people have developed panic attacks. There's depression. There's many of you have probably taken a look at some of the articles and studies that have been done, and we see these unprecedented levels of different anxiety disorders and whatnot. And finally, the third theme and it might be really connected to the second theme, but the third theme is people are saying, I'm really unmotivated. I'm lost my light, my spark. I've lost my zest for life. I don't know what my passion is. I don't know what my purpose is. And I'm really seeing a lot of people describe that. So when Carrie brought this day and this event to us, I thought, wow, this is perfect timing. And so today in my section, there's going to be a few main themes. First, that uptick in depression and anxiety and lack of motivation. Let's look at that a little bit and explore that. And number two, while we explore that and become aware of that reality, what are some ways that we can reconnect to our motivation, our inspiration, our health and healing? And as Carrie said, one of my favorite things to do is to lead guided meditations, and those will no doubt help you to relax the mind, that constant treadmill of thought that might be filled with worry and wonder about the future. So we'll do a couple experientials. And so there's probably no better time than the present to just dive right in and at least do a real short centering meditation. So if you're at home, you might be a regular meditator. You might have played with it a little bit, and maybe some of you have never done it. There's nothing special. It's just really quieting down our mind, and we can find a deep sense of peace in that. So let's just take a few minutes. It'll be short to begin with, and we'll do our first experiential. So you don't need anything special. Just get comfortable in your chair, on your couch, wherever you're watching from. And I typically close my eyes when I teach. So as you begin to get comfortable in your spot, go ahead and close your eyes. Maybe your spine is straight, but making sure that you're very comfortable. And let's start off by taking a few long, slow, deep breaths in. You might take this breath in through the nose. And when you get to the top of the breath, if you can hold it for just a moment, and then letting it go, and going ahead and taking another long, slow, deep breath in. Letting it go. And as you take your next breath in, imagine as if the air, the oxygen, were moving down into your belly. You can almost feel your belly rise. When we're under tremendous amounts of stress, we tend to breathe from our upper chest. And it's very shallow breathing that elicits a stressed nervous system. So when we start directing that oxygen down into our belly, imagining it moving down deep, our nervous system will immediately start to relax. We will elicit a nerve in our body that will move us into the relaxation system. So if you really want to learn this practice, here's something you can do right now. Put one hand on your chest and the other hand on your belly. And as you take a long, slow, deep breath in through your nose, begin to notice your belly rise, and try not to allow that chest cavity to rise, just allowing all that oxygen to move down low and deep into the belly. As you release the breath, the belly moves back towards the spine. And keeping your eyes closed for just another moment, I'll just have you invite yourself to invite your body to relax just 10% more than it was before we started. Allow your shoulders to drop. Allow your eyelids to soften. Allow your eyebrows to unfurrow. Just notice what it feels like to be resting in your chair, noticing your body. You might begin to notice the subtle beating of your heart behind your rib cage. Noticing the sounds in the room, even outside of my voice. Just begin to notice how the body is relaxing. And before we open our eyes together, just take a moment to have a sense of self-love, compassion, gratitude, that there's many things that you could have been doing today and right now, but you've chosen to be here for your own self-care, to learn something new, to help yourself with healing, improving your health. And now, whenever you're ready, you can begin just to open your eyes. Now I know everybody's muted, so it's really as if I'm here kind of talking to you. I can't get your feedback, but right now I can't. But I would imagine that if you followed along, that you notice as you open your eyes a sense that your body is more relaxed and calm than it was before. Another benefit is that we can be more present, right? We can be more present to the information that's in front of us, because when we're stressed, we're usually in that mind that we might be with somebody or listening to a talk or even in conversation with somebody, but our mind is just thinking about, what do I have to do later today? And so really, I just wanted to give us a nice moment of relaxation and a present moment awareness. And so we'll move back now into one of our first themes. And that theme that we talked about first off was, if people are reporting by the droves that they've lost their spark, that implies that we must find something, right? So, or something has been lost. And so let's consider this for a few moments. I'm going to purport that it is our very nature as humans, it is our very nature to be healthy, happy, joyful. And if you don't believe that, let's use an example for a moment. I'll first set you up to why I'm using this example. I was at a conference and I was watching my favorite neuroscientist, Richie Davidson, and he's been studying the concept of joy for decades. And where his research delivered him was that it is our true nature on the deepest level as a human to be joyful. And this is how he described that. Let's take a look at children. And children, if they're 3, 4, and 5 years old, they are closest to their true nature, right? It's before life has happened to us. So before we've taken those hits, before we've had loss. So if we take children across the planet, across the globe, and look at them at 4, 5 years old, and as long as they're being taken care of, what is it that's their nature? What can we witness? Well, their nature is, number one, it's incredibly energetic. They're just bundles of energy. They are non-judgmental. They are curious, creative, joyful, full of laughter. Did I say non-judgmental? Exuberance, awe, this sense of magic, whether it's being at Disneyland for the first time or just seeing rolling hills of green grass. There's a sense of wonder in every day and in every moment, and just this infinite sense of joy. And so that is actually our true nature. And so when we think about what we've lost, we can ask ourselves why. So let's go back 2 years and think about the COVID quarantine as it started upon us in early 2020. We were asked to be quarantined. We were in our homes. Many were completely alone. There was no connection. There was no connection with outside family members or coworkers or friends. People had a sense of fear. They didn't know what was to come. Is this virus going to cause death in my family and my friends? Is my job going to remain? Am I going to be laid off? Am I going to lose my job? I mean, we could go on and on. I'm sure lots of you are thinking about what you went through. And then there's a couple other things that are of interest that people don't often think about. When you see a therapist, or if you're dealing with anxiety or depression, one of the most healthy pieces of advice that would be given to a patient would be to establish a daily routine. Daily routine is incredibly important. And did you notice the way during COVID, daily routines just went out the window? So that might look like people were staying up watching Netflix or social media until 1 a.m. Maybe they were sleeping in until 10, 11, noon, drinking Red Bulls for energy. Maybe the diet went out the window. A lot of people said they were just really lying back on the couch watching TV. Many people weren't exercising. And so essentially, there's a lot more than just that quarantine and those fears and worries. There's loss of the daily routine and so much more. Now, I'm lucky enough to be studying this ancient medical system called Ayurveda right now. And Ayurveda talks about toxicity, and talks a lot about toxicity in the mind, the body. And a lot of you might be able to simply understand the toxins that accumulate in our body from having a poor diet or eating processed foods or too much sugar or whatnot. But when toxicity builds up, and it builds up not only through our lifestyle habits, but also through our emotional system, whether we think about that or not. So I'm going to tell you a few of the signs of physical toxicity and see if anybody can see if those if you say, oh yeah, I've been experiencing that. So some symptoms of physical toxicity include fatigue, feeling heavy, maybe lack of energy and having insomnia, feeling joint pain or muscle aches, waking up tired, having a coated tongue, having dull skin. Maybe there's brittle hair that looks lackluster or lost its shine. And maybe there's edema or swelling that you're noticing happening in your ankles or different parts of your body. So now keep in mind that we not only have to process and metabolize all the food that we eat every day, but we also have to process everything that comes into our sensory system, our emotions. Imagine if you've had an argument with somebody at work, or if you've had a serious loss in your life, which many have over the last couple of years, or imagine an incredible heartbreak. All of that can build as emotional toxicity. And I'll read off a few of the signs that you might notice if you're having emotional toxicity. That looks like a lack of energy, a lack of enthusiasm. It can look like anxiety, worry, fear, depression, irritability, anger. And surprisingly enough, going back to the title of the talk, it's a loss of sense of passion and purpose. Like, why am I even here? It's that term is called anhedonia. And if you're looking at somebody with depression, the term anhedonia means what's the point? It's this deep loss of a sense of passion and purpose. And so we're going to talk about how to realign, and then we'll have another meditation in just a few minutes, but how to align with this joy, this passion, this purpose, this exuberance, how to get our light back, how to get our joy back. So we're going to look at 3 main steps so that we can take something home. So if you have a pen and paper, and the first step is quite intuitive. We're here using the vessel of our body, our brain, to navigate our entire life. We can't really embody the light, the joy, the exuberance. Can you imagine navigating that type of energy if we're feeling chronic and severe pain or an intense sense of anxiety? We have to cultivate bodily health, and we also have to think about our brain, and that aligns up perfectly with our audience today. And so just take an inventory, and just for a few moments, we won't spend a lot of time, but just take a mindful moment and think, how am I eating right now? Am I putting fruits and vegetables and nuts and seeds and whole foods into my body, or am I really just overindulging in a lot of processed foods every day, having those strong cravings for sugar that's kind of like an addiction? So once we're eating the sugar, we're wanting more and more of it. What are we putting into our body? Our body essentially is recycled food. We have a new body about every year. We don't really recognize it, but it's true. If you look at a 3-year-old, your friend's 3-year-old, and then you see them in a year, you recognize that 4-year-old pretty much has a brand new body. But we look in the mirror and we think that we're static, unchanging because we're adults, but everything and every moment our cells are dying and turning over, and the fuel is our food. So food is incredibly important. And then take a little inventory on your exercise. Am I getting any movement? Am I getting any type of cardiovascular walking or riding a bike? If you have joint pain or if you have physical debilities, there's generally things everybody can do, whether it's swimming or chair yoga or something of that sort. Maybe we think about our sleep patterns. Are you staying up way too late and then trying to make up for it the next day by pounding coffee and drinking Red Bulls? Is there some insomnia going on? And so there's a lot of things to think about with our physical health. And then the brain, I categorize, obviously, we have to have a healthy body and brain to reconnect with our joy and our spark. So I've given a lot of talks for the Brain Injury Alliance on the brain, and it's not the topic for today, but most of you probably know by now that just a decade ago, we thought our brain was very static, unchanging, but we know now the word neuroplasticity refers to brain or brain cells. Our brain is plastic or malleable or changeable. We have so much ability to nourish our brain every day. For anybody that wants to understand neuroplasticity just a little bit better, just think of a really simple example. If you wanted to learn Spanish or piano, maybe you play the piano with your new piano teacher for an hour every week, and at first you're horrible, you can't get it, and then a week and a month and 6 months and a year goes by and you're getting really good at the piano. Your brain is creating new neuronal pathways. Bottom line, your brain is creating neuronal pathways to play the piano. I took Spanish 2 years in college and I was pretty good. That was a long time ago, and I haven't been using it for decades, unfortunately. And I really lost that skill because my neuronal pathways are pairing off. And so we really want to take care of our brain. And for so many reasons, if we've sustained a brain injury, I'll tell you the 3 main ways to keep, not only to heal our brain, but to prevent. Maybe your a parent or grandparent had Alzheimer's and you're worried about neurodegenerative disorders. So the 3 main things that drive neuroplasticity are, number 1, the environments that we find ourselves in. So it's going to be very difficult if you're a police officer or if you're in the military and you're going on missions. You're going to be in a very stressful environment. That's something oftentimes people can't change, but think about the environments you're in. Cultivate good, healthy environments with good people that inspire you and uplift you. Have a seminar like we're having today with like-minded people and wanting to improve our life and our health. Maybe instead of going gambling or going to the casino and spending hours there, and then the behaviors that we partake in. So what are you eating? What are you drinking? What's your exercise regimen? How are you sleeping? And just finally, the way we think. And I mean, whether that be the chronic worry, the chronic rumination versus a more peaceful, mindful approach. And I'll explain as we go into another experiential meditation, how can I cultivate those, that better mental state, or how can I cultivate even positive emotions? So we'll go into that a little bit. So let's see here. Let me get us. So for the physical, going back to number one, just simply, whether not right now, but when we're finished today, sit down and just take an inventory. It's real straightforward. Just take an inventory. Like it might look like my diet's getting a D, and maybe I could just see ways where I could just improve it. I mean, you don't have to go all out, but just baby steps. Maybe you're getting an A+ in your exercise and you're getting an F in sleep, but do a little inventory. So that's the first pillar. So the first pillar is we need to have a healthy body and a healthy brain in order to embody wellness. I mean, it's just, that's our vessel. We've heard that before, that this is our vessel. This is our temple, and we have to take care of it. And the better we take care of it, the more joy and exuberance we'll be able to embody. So that's number one. Number two, and we'll do a little mindful meditation in a minute, but let's talk about mindfulness for just a moment, because this is number two. So for my topic, Carrie asked me to speak on mindfulness, and some of you watching might just be experts in mindfulness. You might practice mindfulness meditation. You might be experts at being mindful. And there's some of you that might be watching that are like, I've heard that term, but I have no idea what you're talking about right now, being mindful. And it's so important because this is where joy lives. So let me explain that to you. So if you don't know, and for those that do, just bear with me. So we don't really often recognize it, but from the minute we open our eyes in the morning, we're on autopilot, or many people are on autopilot. The eyes pop open and we're immediately in the treadmill of thought. Okay. So what is the when I do this, this is always my symbol for the treadmill of thought. So what is the treadmill of thought? Eyes pop open. It's 6:30. I slept too late. I've got to do X, Y, and Z before I take a shower. I have to get to the office. I have to finish that project. Oh my gosh, I completely forgot. I'm supposed to be getting organized to put on that baby shower next weekend. And then we start moving into our day, and we're driving, and we're not really driving and present, but maybe someone cuts us off and we get mad and say, oh, and go off on a little tangent. How can you be so da-da-da? So it's this autopilot. And when we're on autopilot, it's typically the lens of the past. And so we're all operating from a record player of the past for sure. So we might be ruminating on what has happened, and having those thoughts. or we might be moving into the future. So we might be thinking about, oh my gosh, what's going to happen? And we have a lot of things to think about, don't we? I mean, any one of us on here, we have jobs and families, and some are caretaking for children, caretaking special needs, caretaking for brain injury survivors or maybe parents. We have health, physical health, mental health concerns, finances, the state of the world. Turn on the news. So we could just go down the list and just continue on. And so when you hear about the term mindful in a popular culture, mindfulness is being right here, right now. And so if you're on this call and you're maybe looking at me, the speaker, and you're listening to what I'm saying, then you are being mindful. If you just tune back in and thought, I have no idea what she's been talking about for the last 10 minutes because I was thinking about going to the grocery store and the things I have to do this weekend, then you weren't being mindful. So I'll give you one more example, and then we'll do a little mindfulness just so you can experience it. And then I will give you a take home so you can jot down how to cultivate this. Okay, so here's a good example. You have been saving money for your dream vacation, and your dream vacation, you can't wait for it to come. And maybe it's on a white sandy beach, somewhere like Aruba with that crystal turquoise water. Or maybe it's in the pines overlooking a clear lake. Either one, choose either one. So you're on your beach and you finally made it. And you got your feet in the sand and you're looking out over that water, but in your mind, you're now biting your nails and you are thinking about, oh my goodness, what's going to happen with this and that and the other thing. And so kind of like we talked about, that's where you're at. Well, you're not in the present moment. And so you're missing out on that dream vacation. And so it's really and truly, it might not seem like it, but it's a skill to bring ourselves into the present moment, because our mind wants to be the one in charge. Our mind wants to be the one always talking and always. So we have to learn this skill a bit. So we'll do a little bit of mindfulness meditation, just a couple minutes of it. And then I'll give you, for anybody that wants it, a little assignment, and you can write it down and then you can practice it every day. And so we'll just do a couple minutes now of mindfulness. And so I'm going to get comfortable in my chair and I'll invite everybody once again. I'm going to go ahead and close my eyes. And I invite all of you to close your eyes. If it doesn't feel comfortable closing your eyes, that's okay. If you'd like to look at a beautiful flower that you have in your home or out a window, you don't have to close your eyes. I find it very peaceful to close my eyes, but it's important to do what feels good. So now, once again, we'll just take a nice, slow, deep breath in. Maybe through the nose. We're going to remember our new breath technique, taking that long, slow, deep breath down where it feels like you're taking it into the belly. Letting your shoulders drop. Letting your eyelids soften, letting your body relax. And now asking yourself the question, is it true that I cannot step into the past and change it? And we all know that that's true. So just for the next block of time, if you can, just letting everything that's already gone by, letting it go. And silently asking ourselves, is it true that we cannot step into the future and force it? And we all know that that's true. So letting any thoughts, worries, concerns, to-do lists about the future, just let them slip away for the next couple of minutes. And so I invite you right into the present moment. The present moment, right here, right now, and everything that's present in this moment, to include all of our senses. So silently asking yourself, what does it feel like to just be resting comfortably within my body? You might start to notice the way the air comes in, maybe through the nose, and out through the nose or the mouth. You might start to do a body scan and become aware that some parts of you are really relaxed, but maybe there's a joint that has some inflammation, or maybe there's a dull headache. No need to get caught up in the story. We're just witnessing what's going on in the body, what's here in the moment. You might be able to subtly bring your attention to the center of your chest and notice the beating of your heart behind your rib cage. Some people might be able to notice an aliveness in their body. They might feel that life energy in the spine. What is this energy that's animating my whole being? You might feel a tingling of life at your fingertips or your toes. You might be able to begin to notice where your back and your bottom end and meet with the chair, the couch underneath you. You might become aware of the way your clothing feels, gently resting against your skin. You might notice the air temperature in the room that you're sitting in. Maybe you notice that air brushing gently across your skin. You might begin to notice sounds in your environment outside of my voice. It might be the hum of an air conditioner. You could hear the subtle television, maybe coming from another room in the home. Maybe some of you can hear traffic outside of your window, or if you're lucky enough to hear a bird chirping. Start to notice all the sounds around you. For some, there could be the scent of lavender if you're diffusing some scent into your home. Maybe you have a window open and can smell the scent of the trees, or for some of you, maybe it's the scent of rain. Noticing everything here in the present moment. And just taking 30 seconds or so to become aware of the in-breath and the out-breath, moving in and out. Just do that for about 30 seconds. And now, just bringing your attention with your eyes closed back, taking a nice, slow, deep breath in. And before you open your eyes, maybe just noticing this sense of peace that resides here in the present moment. It's just a calm here, below the level of that ornery, spinning, turbulent mind. Just a beautiful, peaceful presence. Take a nice, slow, deep breath in and begin to open your eyes whenever you feel ready. And again, I'm not getting feedback, and usually I'm in a group, a live group. So generally people notice at this point, they notice that they feel more calm, more quiet, more still. But just become aware, if you're not already aware, that if you're on that sandy beach, or if you're just sitting in your day and your mind is just full of turbulence, which is fairly normal. So don't beat yourself up if that's the way it's going for you. But just know that it's possible in just a couple minutes time to cultivate this presence. And this is where joy actually lives. This is the home of joy. How can you feel this type of joy and peace if you're sitting in a turbulent mind? So just keep that in mind. I get really excited about this stuff, so I can go on and on. Okay, so now I'm going to give you, we want to save time for the important pieces. I'm just going to give you a little, if anybody wants it, a little experiential to do on your own. So if you have good weather, or if you can cultivate this environment, just make it a point today and maybe tomorrow and going forward, if you can take 5 minutes and maybe go outside. Maybe you take a cup of tea and you sit in a chair, and maybe there's some trees or birds, and commit to not ruminating on the past and not being stuck in the treadmill of thoughts, but being completely enmeshed in the moment. So you're tasting that cup of tea, you're feeling the air against your skin, you're listening to the sounds of birds, you're watching the trees sway. And just begin to allow yourself that. And in addition to that, you can listen to mindfulness meditations. There's lots of them. I have one on my website. It's one mindfulness, it's guided. And then finally, number 3, so our third, and this is perfect timing, our third step. So I'll review. Number 1, our first step was cultivate that that healthy vessel so that we can hold that joy and that good health and that exuberance. And number two was that piece of mindfulness, that joy and passion and purpose and all of our essence resides in the moment. It doesn't reside in this crazy turbulent treadmill. And number three, so remember when we talked about our true essence, and when we think about the true essence of children, that joy and that peace and that tranquility and awe and wonder, just the awe of seeing beautiful flowers or different species of life, or just that person sitting in front of you, whether it's a friend or a child, just being in awe of and wonder. You notice the way we lose that as we get older, and we lose it, like I said, when we take the hits. So maybe we've had loss, and maybe it's people that have told us you're no good, or you're too this, or you're too that, or it's institutions that have told us. And so how do we reconnect? And my answer to that is we have to reconnect to that essence every single day. Mindfulness is one way to reconnect to that, but my personal preference is, and I can teach anybody or with a follow-up somehow, or is to meditate every day, because meditation is finding the silence that lives below the level of the turbulent mind. When we're in the turbulent mind and going outward, we're searching, we're looking for pleasure, we're searching for whether that's gambling or shopping or workaholism or whatever we're grasping for. We're going outward. We're really moving farther and farther away from our true essence. Pleasure is, there's a big difference between pleasure and joy. Pleasure is very short-lived and joy is much different, but reconnecting every single day. And my route to that is through meditation. So what we'll do is, so that we can finish in time to have a break, and is we'll just do, it'll be fairly brief, and I could talk about this for a long time, but we'll just connect to our essence and to a few of those positive emotions that we talked about earlier. So one more time, we'll make this one brief, but go ahead and close your eyes for this final experiential piece. Get comfortable, and you might be able to dip more quickly now into this contemplative, peaceful place now that we've done a few in the last hour. Take a nice, slow, deep breath in, feeling your body relax. And cultivate a sense of value and gratitude for yourself that you've taken the time to listen today to improve your life. Connecting into a sense of gratitude for those really simple things that we sometimes forget about, like the fact that we have clean water to drink and food to eat, a bed to sleep in, a pillow, things that often many don't have, air conditioning in the hot summer, safe place to live, family and friends. Take a moment to feel a deep sense of self-compassion. Feeling compassion for ourselves. Think about all the people that you've taken care of, all the things you've overcome and experienced and endured in your life. And treating yourself with as much self-love and compassion as you would a child or a best friend. Feeling a deep sense of compassion for all those who are journeying through life with us. They have their own difficulties to navigate. Reconnect for a moment with a sense of awe and wonder, Our eyes can behold a starlit sky, the moon, a meadow of flowers, so many miracles all around us, but sometimes we're just too busy to even recognize. Bringing into your mind somebody you love very much, letting that feeling of love expand in your heart. And as you sit with your eyes closed, what we should be looking to find is our way back here to this place that's inside of every one of us, this place of peace, love, good health. It's just waiting for us to reconnect to. And so taking a nice, slow, deep breath in. Whenever you're ready, you can open your eyes. So I'm open to, I know we're on a time schedule. We have a lot of amazing speakers, and I want to be mindful of a break and all of those wonderful speakers. And so whether it's a question now or whether it's something you submit to Kristen or however you want to do that, I'm always happy to help. So I'm really grateful to have been able to spend this time with all of you. Thank you, Carrie, and thank you, Kristen, and thank you for all of you who tuned in today.